The hell is that?
Work. Yeah. Good job, computer. We're trying to screenshot this website, and then it's one of the ones where like the image keeps rotating.
Oh.
So I keep missing it.
Yeah.
Or like I'm on the wrong monitor at the time.
That sucks.
I wish. Wouldn't it be cool if Cortana or Siri, they were able to turn into an actual artificial intelligence?
Like if they were actually intelligent.
Yeah, like if they were actually cognition beings. They'd be,
Maybe.
like, but then I feel like something like iRobot would happen,
Yeah.
where like they would become like the operating system for everything, and the operating system would consider us obsolete because we destroy ourselves.
I feel like this is a movie or many movies.
There probably
There's many movies.
based on this idea, but I just think it'd be cool because then I could get a tattoo and build muscles and say I'm in the resistance.
Tattoos are almost as cool as drugs.
What?
Tattoos are almost as cool as drugs.
I love drugs,
Drugs are like the best thing.
especially when you take them with alcohol.
Yeah. It's like dying. Dying is awesome.
Dying is amazing. Next best thing from dying is pain.
You de-escalated. Sorry, I took it to the extreme. And there's like nowhere to go beyond. You could have gone to undying.
Seriously, there's nothing beyond death.
No. At least that's what I heard from the Japanese.
I feel like, no offense to Adele because she's a really good artist, but I think she has to get over that person.
I think Adele. I don't know.
Adele is like bizarro Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She's just a little.
I feel like Adele's writing about different people, like Taylor Swift is.
So does it sing? How many songs do they have? Each like they have a lot of songs, right? So like, how many people are they dating?
Well, and then they also write for other people, too. I think.
Yeah, they do. But I'm just saying, like, if they like their songs for different people, they must be dating a lot of people. Like, you need to take a break.
Maybe. I think sometimes too, like they're making up characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I do sometimes? I'll watch a TV show or a movie, and I'll get super emotionally invested in it, and I can write a song through that.
Yeah. I just started doing that the other week.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
This
Right?
one, I think I showed it to you. I wrote it like Sword Art Online. Because I was like super, like I had the flu or something. And I was like binge watching, and then when I'm like sick, I actually have feelings.
Asuna!
I'm sick. I actually have feelings.
Asuna!
You're not a robot.
Sasuke!
Naruto! Sasuke!
Ino!
Sakura!
Sakura!
Kakashi!
What is the fifth Hokage?
The fifth Hokage is
Or sixth?
Hagaramu? Or... Oh no, that's Hagaromo or something. Damn, I don't remember.
No, Hokage.
There is no sixth Hokage.
Uh,
The fourth Hokage was...
the fifth.
The fifth was Naruto's dad.
Who's the fourth?
The old man.
What?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No. Yeah. The fourth is the old man. And then the fifth Hokage was Naruto's dad. And Naruto's dad died.
No, Sarutobi was the third. Oh, wait. No, wait, you're right. Because it's Hashirama,
Hashirama.
then his brother,
And his brother.
and then it was Naruto's dad, right?
No.
No.
The old
Then
man.
Sarutobi.
That's Sarutobi.
Then Naruto's dad. Then
Naruto's dad.
Sarutobi took over again.
Yeah, because Naruto's dad died.
Yeah.
And then Naruto
I'm
becomes
talking
the
about
next.
Naruto again.
He becomes the next Hokage.
And then after that is the late Tsunade.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about her.
Tsunade. I was trying to think of all the women.
That's right. Tsunade,
Tsunade.
she becomes the sixth Hokage. And then after her, Naruto becomes Hokage. And I only knew that because I watched the movie. I watched like the first 10 minutes of the movie Boruto.
I just stretched myself. and I broke my back.
Mhm.
Oh! I'm someone's mom. That's why my back broke.
If someone stepped on a crack.
Apparently.
Ah, ha, 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 ha.
This video sucks, man.
Has it been recording?
It's been recording for 6 minutes already.
I don't have inspiration. And I blame the media. They're slacking.
Blame the media. That's lazy.
But I feel like it's almost like necessary because the media blames everybody else for everything all the time.
Like.
Alright, this is gonna get.
Like, okay, so
Yeah, it's about to go down.
Omar Mateen.
Huh?
Omar Mateen, the guy who killed like 30 gay people.
Yes,
Okay,
Orlando.
so as soon as it happened, like I said, I went to my hotel and I landed at 6:30 in the morning in Chicago, and my check-in time was at 3 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I literally waited from about 7 till 3 in the lobby of the hotel, watching the news of how everything unfolded.
Yeah.
And so they immediately said it was ISIS, which I thought was wrong to release to the public because they're not sure.
Are you sure they said it was ISIS?
They said it was ISIS. So like,
Who
we think
said
it's
it was-
ISIS.
Did they say it was ISIS, or they said they thought it was ISIS?
They said they thought it was ISIS.
Okay, see,
But
that's different.
by saying that, you're still sparking ideas in people's mind. Like, don't say anything to the public unless you know for sure. Because what we need is we don't need to be putting idea in people's heads after they're all excited about what's going on, and then have people just charging into places, right?
Okay.
That happened with 9/11, right? We started, was it Afghanistan or Iraq? Which one was it that we had no place being in?
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly why, I mean, granted, it could have been, but then there's also this thing called self-radicalization, right? Self-radicalization, basically, he was angry, and he said, well, they're blowing stuff up because they're angry. I want to blow stuff up because I'm angry, so I'm going to identify myself with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't ISIS making a move towards us. It was some guy just identifying with ISIS with self-radicalization, two completely different things. It could have been. He was on terror watch list a couple times.
I don't think it's two different things. It's just like not a direct,
Well,
as direct link as
it's
you could make it.
It's not. It's. I just wouldn't say it's a
Because
direct-
it's both still extremism.
It is both extremism and it is both terroristic. But it's just when I say it's self-radicalization, and when I say it's different from radicalization, I say it wasn't directly ISIS, one of the enemies of our country, didn't say we didn't make a move and say we need you to attack these people.
No, yeah. That's
This
not
it
what
was
happened.
one of the people in our country who was stupid and messed up and said, "Oh, I'm angry about something, and these people over here are angry and they blow stuff up. So I'm gonna say that I'm with them." And obviously, ISIS isn't gonna deny it because they want publicity. Like, oh yeah, that was us. We did that. It's cool. Yeah. We're popular like that. And granted, Omar Mateen was on the terror watch list like 2 or 3 times, twice I think, and he worked for he had a federal job.
Yeah.
But they dismissed it both times.
Right.
Because he was just very, very close-minded. He was very hateful towards gay people and other races, and so people heard that and would call. And I mean, as NSA, right, you have to be able to discern what's an actual threat and what people just saying this person's a terrorist. And so they didn't find any connections to ISIS. So they're like, well, we can't say that you did anything.
Yeah.
And then everybody starts freaking out. Oh, he was on terror watch list. How could this happen? How could he have worked here? It's like, but there was no ties. And everybody said, "Oh, but his parents are Muslim, so that's just a coincidence." I mean, there's footage and there's proof that he was spotted multiple times at that gay club.
Mm-hmm.
Way before that, there's speculation, and it could be wrong, but there's speculation that maybe he was just someone who's struggling with sexual identity and his beliefs with religion.
Yeah.
And he was angry about it and projected.
Right.
And killed a bunch of gay people.
Yeah. Which, if that was true, it would be so tragic.
Yeah. And identified through this projection, identified with ISIS.
Okay, why would we get on blaming the media for? What was it?
Because I blame the media. I said I blame the media because it's almost necessary because the media blames everything else and everything. So all I'm saying is the media released information to the public that they weren't necessarily sure of at the moment where it just happened. It was fresh. Everybody was excited. We need to do something. We need to do it now.
What were we talking right before that? Blaming the media because what? But why? Why did we get on that?
Because we said this video sucked. And I said, I blame the media because I'm not inspired. Like, they usually have some reason for me to get passionate about, but I just feel nothing right now. They're slacking.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah, and then I got well, I don't want to hear that because I hate that excuse. Anytime someone says I blame the media for whatever.
I think that I was telling Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's crazy how Google has become everybody's number one search for anything. Like there's other search engines, but nothing as good as Google. Can you imagine like every single piece of information that we get, every single piece of research that we do to make different things, all comes from Google. They almost like they control the information that goes out, right? That's kind of scary. And now Google expanding on all these different things, and email, and then Google Hangout, Google Plus, which is like a social network, like a Facebook, Google Voice.
Failed Facebook.
Yeah.
A fail book.
A fail book.
Yeah.
And like Google Voice, where they give you pay like 25 cents, and you have a separate phone number through them. You can text or call,
yeah.
which I think is cool. I think it's cool for the purposes that I can save all my numbers to that, and then all I gotta do is my phone gets broken or stolen and I can't change anything off it, I'll just go to my phone on my new phone, log into my email, and all my contacts just appear. So I think that's cool. But regardless, I feel like Google is like the number one source of information that everybody has and goes to. So I feel like they have a big control of the information that goes out, and they're starting to gain more control because they're expanding on more things. Right?
Yeah, I remember reading a little bit about that, about some search engine, like what pops up right in your text box as you're beginning to type. Yeah. That can be slanted or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. Like you pop something in and it's a suggestion.
And I think I became more aware of that when it was after was it San Bernardino, that shooting? Whereas there was the Muslim guy and his wife. They shot up the you remember that one?
Yes.
Because like one of them was like a state worker and they got disgruntled for whatever reason. And then they want the phone. That was the thing, because it was an iPhone. They wanted to unlock the phone, but Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, was like, "I don't want to do that."
Yes.
Right. So in the news, there's a lot of talk about information encoding or encrypting. I think that's when they're talking about the Google searches being slanted or something. I don't know if it was that or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like nowadays a lot of things are becoming more controlled. Like. I feel, like things are being more controlled. The government is slowly having more and more control over us, right? This whole idea of political correctness now, which kind of doesn't really give us the true intention of freedom of speech. I can't say anything that I want because people get offended and I can get in trouble for it. That's not freedom of speech. That's a controlled speech.
Yeah.
There's
Do you
only
see
so much I can
videos
say.
of people disrupting rallies because they disagree with what the speaker's talking about?
Yeah.
Do you see those? They're ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. And I think it's, our country is founded on freedom. We don't have to agree on everything it says, and people are ignorant sometimes, but we should be able to say it. And then everybody freaks out about the Second Amendment, right? Guns are more dangerous. I can protect myself. Like, I am an advocate of guns. I love guns. I think we should have guns.
Me too.
But let's be real. You say you think we should have guns, so you want the right to defend yourself? Yeah, I guess that's true, but you need to be aware that if you have a gun and you're going to defend yourself, you have to be prepared to kill somebody, because that's what you're going to do. For the most part, if somebody's charging at you, you're not going to be able to just shoot them in the leg. You're aiming to stop them, and yeah, it's self-defense, and you stop yourself, you defend yourself. But we need to be aware that is, by doing that, you have to be prepared to kill somebody. That's an option that happens with guns. I honestly think if you want to use a real excuse of why we should have the rights for guns, let's keep it to what the Constitution, like why they added it, right? We're a country founded on a bunch of idealists who didn't agree with what their government said because tea was too expensive and that was ridiculous. And they came over here and said, you know what, we're going to make our own rules. But we know that this can become flawed later. So we're going to allow our citizens to have firepower just in case our system becomes too corrupt and flawed. They have the power to fight back. That is why we have the right to bear arms, because we as a citizen have the right to have the power to fight back. So that's why people freak out like, oh, well, yeah, you can have small guns, but it's not necessary to have AR-52 or whatever, these big assault rifles. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous to say, oh, I want to defend myself with my assault rifle. That's kind of ridiculous. But in the grand scheme of things, the reason we have the right to bear arms is to be able to defend ourselves against a possibly corrupt country in the future. If we have handguns against their military power,
right.
we need to be able to.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
We need to be able to defend ourselves with firepower.
Yeah.
You know, there's
That's
people
true.
who have all these registered weapons in a whole gun room. Like, it's because, you know, even I think it was Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers, who said after about 40 years, every government should be overthrown because at that point the corruption is too high.
Yeah, I don't know who said that, but
I think it might have been Thomas Jefferson. And to know, it was definitely one of our founding fathers. So to know that one of the people who helped create this government, this
I've never
this
heard that
system of
quote
rules,
before.
I mean, that tells me that they were fully aware that the system wasn't fully perfect. You know, just like we see the justice system doesn't always.
I feel like doesn't that sound like Marx to you? Every 40 years we should have a revolution. But I don't know. I'm not super familiar with.
I'm not quoting it
quotes.
verbatim. Like, let me ask Google.
You should.
Right?
Ask our Google lords, overlords.
The quotes.
Google
government.
overlords.
Google what?
Google overlords.
Government corruption overthrow. It's something along those lines. Like, I'm not quoting verbatim. I don't remember. I'm just paraphrasing, but there's got to be something. Like, oh, brainy quote is good. Let's see. But going off of that, basically what I'm saying is it implies that even the people who helped create this are aware that it could go wrong at some point, and so we should give our citizens the right to argue against it.
Like our local politicians. You should vote. Alex, you should get informed. Speaking of corruption.
Oh, wait, no. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. So I was paraphrasing, but this country with its institutions belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of the existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise the revolutionary right to overthrow it.
Are you going to vote in November?
I missed the day to register to vote.
There's still time to register to vote for the general election.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's a different date for the general. You should do that and do some research, especially since you want to get into politics more.
Franklin D. Roosevelt. Listen to this.
Okay.
Let us never forget that government is ourselves and not an alien power over us. The ultimate rules of our democracy are not a president and senators and congressmen and government officials, but the voters of this country. That's interesting.
Very good reminder. Ironic it's coming from FDR, who's super...
Yeah.
He wielded a lot of executive power. That's true, though. That's a good quote.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Yep, I agree.
They just say F it, there's corrupt politicians, F them, and that's it.
Yep, I agree.
But yeah, you should do research for local election and register.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, man.
Oh my god.
What are you doing?
I'm still looking. They're so good. Okay. I also think, because this is really this is unrelated, right? But it's kind of stuck in my head. Stop train. I think it's weird how we as a species, we have metacognition, right? Metacognition is being aware of your thoughts, being aware of yourself. And we are so metacognitive that we refer to our brain as something separate, as not ourselves. But our brain is us.
Okay.
You know, like, oh yeah, my brain. No, like, I can say that with my heart, because my heart is the organ that just pumps blood. Which controls my brain. My brain is my thoughts. It's who I am. It's what I... So I just think it's interesting that we refer to our brain as a separate thing, when in reality, us referring to our brain as a separate thing is really us referring to us, which also applies to the whole logic about how we talk about the universe as something different, but in reality, we're kind of the universe experiencing itself. Because we're made from molecules and different things that came from the universe.
I remember talking about this before. Yeah. I think That was very interesting. I never thought about that. That's something distinctive, I think, of being human.
Mm-hmm.
You're self-aware.
Yeah.
I've never heard of metacognitive. I think that's a fancy way of saying you're self-aware.
It is. It's a psychological term. It's metacognition, and it just simply means you're aware. So the only people who have it, or the species that have metacognition, is people, humans. Some animals have it to an extent, but not really.
Not nearly to the extent as humans.
Dolphins are pretty self-aware, though. They're so smart that they could speak English, but they don't have vocal cords. So they just go, or whatever they do.
Interesting.
Yeah. Monkeys, they're smart, and they have a certain amount of logic, but what keeps them from being fully self-aware is they're impulsive, and they can't control their emotions. Unlike us, we can step back and say, oh, why am I feeling this way? Monkeys just get angry and flip out.
How could dolphins speak English?
How
did they get to that conclusion?
They're smart enough. Their thought processes and the way they show their logic and understand things.
Could if there was a reality where that could happen.
Basically, they're smart enough to speak it. They just don't have their body isn't built for them to speak it.
Yeah.
But their brain is smart enough for them to understand it, which is why,
based on observations of how they interact and communicate,
yes,
they could very well.
It's
like on a level of human, almost not quite, obviously, but
yep, it's like a level.
It's so like nuanced.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. Yeah,
they're still dolphins though. They're still better than them.
I agree. But then dolphins also get horny, and their penis is like a bone.
Okay, great.
You ever heard of that? How like people that swim with dolphins, they like rape you sometimes. They get excited.
Oh.
Yeah, like it's a general thing, and like
that's scary.
That is scary. It's very scary. Yeah. Because they're so smart, they can grow to have crushes on us, and be attracted to us. Yeah.
Dolphins?
Yeah, there's stories where people go to swim like SeaWorld or whatever with dolphins, and then like the dolphin straight up tries to rape the person because they're attracted to people.
Nice. I mean, I would be attracted to me too if I was.
I feel like
better not go by a dolphin.
I feel like I don't know how you can verify any of those things like you read about.
Well, these are
dolphins.
These are just stories. As far as like the raping people, that's stories like things that have gone on the news where somebody like went with his family and a dolphin like got excited and tried to like rape him.
Oh.
And then like South Park, I think, or like shows like Family Guy will make fun of it.
Oh, okay.
And as far as
or this communication thing.
As far as communication, that's just things. Yeah, that's just things that I read that talk about like in psychology. That you talk about like how smart animals are and things that are just gone through kind of like their patterns and the way they communicate and the way they understand and react. It just shows that they have a level of understanding where they could, if they were built properly, they could probably speak English. But they don't have vocal cords, so they can't speak at all. They just make noises.
So there was one time, do you know like the little dolphin who cried, like the Fairly Odd Parents videos?
What?
Well, I'll show you. So I had copied and pasted. I had copied that link.
Okay.
To this YouTube video,
uh-huh.
and then I was like, I think I was posting it on Facebook or something stupid, and then I went to send like an email to a music shop, like an inquiry about like it was like a serious inquiry about like drums or something. And I thought I'd like copy the Sweetwater link and then pasted it, asking them like if they had this available product. It was a dubstep video, and I didn't realize that. I sent the email, and then the person responded. They're like, I believe the link that you sent us is actually a dubstep video. And then it's like it's really dumb.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like I'm glad that the person actually emailed me back instead of being like, this fuck
up. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's talk about one more thing.
Okay. What else? I mean, I think we should avoid religion because we'll argue for days on that.
It doesn't matter.
Wait, we should have Sean talk.
We should talk about religion. Could be about anything. I do like talking about religion.
I do too.
And history.
Yeah, you should talk about both.
Okay, so here's something.
Okay.
So I've spoken to multiple, like, there's people from, you speak to certain people from certain churches, right? And you speak to them, and it's like, these are people that have grown up their entire lives in the church. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with growing up with God, and knowing God, and loving God, and being, but some of these people will grow up and they become super, like, plastic, and, like, they're, like, zombies of God. And, like, they have no depth to them.
Oh, zombies of God like Jesus? That's what I hear some people say.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, I know. I'm being facetious.
But
Okay,
they have
plastic,
they've developed no depth to them, and they have very circular thinking, and have no. It almost seems like it almost seems they have no concept of the real world. And like I said, I'm not saying it's bad to grow up with God and believe in God. But what I'm saying is, and I guess it makes sense, right? When you grow up your entire life being sold a certain thing with a certain way, you kind of don't develop the part of your brain that can critically think really well. And you just grow up accepting things. And I think, in a way, can be borderline blasphemous. Because I think an important part of understanding God and choosing to be with God is knowing what sin is and choosing to believe in Him and have faith.
I don't know if blasphemous is the word.
Maybe not blasphemous.
Dishonoring.
Borderline, maybe dangerous or dishonoring.
It is potentially dangerous.
Yeah. Because, like, for example, I went 6 years indulging in sin, and then I got done, and then I chose to go away from that and be with God, as well as there was things that just don't make sense to me, even to this day, about God. Like, I'll be talking to those people I'm talking about. I was thinking this, and like I was trying to answer this, I don't get it, and they'll tell me, oh yeah, I was thinking it too, but I read the Bible and I answered it. I'm like, oh really? What was the answer? Please, I'm really interested. I'd like the answer too. Well, we have light, and then I read it, and I said, God, let there be light, and I'm like, oh okay. And I'm like, no. That doesn't answer the question.
Was that what someone actually said?
No, not specifically. I'm making a point, like that kind of circular thinking. And I'm like, that didn't answer the question, at all. Like, there's things we don't know, and God says, and God, I feel like God left doubt for a reason, because He wants us to question Him, right? That's what faith is for. When there's things we don't get, we have to have faith.
Well, I don't know if that's what it's for.
I think that
I don't know if the Bible comments on it's God is not fully knowable.
Well, yeah,
because we're finite.
There's just doubt, and like He wants us to question. I remember even having to talk with Dane about this, and I'm basically saying what Dane said, like that. Maybe that there's doubt in this because God may want us to question it, because by questioning it, we're talking about it. And I think it's important to understand that we just don't have the answers, and that's okay. We don't have to have the answers. That's what faith is for. But for some people who grow up in it and just don't question it at all, it's like, do you really understand God? Do you really know what it's like to be a believer and turn away those things? Or are you just accepting things? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's a huge, wonderful, awful, fundamentalist tradition of American Christianity where there is a lot of circular thinking, because it's basically like basic instructions before leaving Earth because of the Bible, and that's all you view it as. And it doesn't, like, those churches are faithful to the Word, and that's great. And that's a blessing to people. Whether or not they're genuinely saved or not, we don't know. Even if they are, like, I can see, like, those kind of churches, their witness, their mission suffers, or God's mission suffers in their community, because they won't know how to contextualize the message to anyone.
Exactly.
Except themselves.
Yes, I agree. And I know you made it a facetious, but you made a remark about, Jesus is a zombie. I kind of disagree with that, because yes, He was all about God. Obviously, He was Jesus, but He was also realistic. Like, He's like, I'm not saying that this is reasonable. It's not possible for you, but I'm saying that you have to do it because that's what God says. Like, He understood just what it was.
Wait, I don't understand your point. I was being really facetious about Jesus.
Because He rose from the dead, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought you were referring to Him as being a zombie, like those people who, like, He just always knew God and was like,
No.
That's what I was referring
No,
to.
he definitely knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Like he was like I said, he wasn't just like, oh God. I mean, he was about God this and God that, but he was in a way where he was like aware of it. Like I remember, I forget, like like I said, I'm limited. I don't really remember things well, but I remember there was one moment like when Jesus went to like the church or the temple or whatever, and and he saw that people were being taxed to go in, and I remember watching a documentary about it, and it said how Jesus was angry and furious, and like he flipped tables, and that was said to be known as the most violent act that Jesus ever did. And so, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, even Jesus was like, this is maddening. Can't believe this. Get this out of here, Right. He was realistic about things. He wasn't just a doll, a belief. He was belief, but he was always like, yeah, I mean, this you're screwed. Like, this isn't reasonable for you, but this is what it is. But that's why I'm here. Kind of a thing. As opposed to, like, the people that I'm talking about who are just like, yeah, but it's God.
See,
I accept it.
The reason why I get frustrated with both Christians and a lot of like millennials is the exact same reason, and it's like you're saying because there's, oh thank you. So I think you articulated why I'm frustrated with Christians a lot of times, but then I feel like I'm frustrated with millennials for the same reason because we grow up like with these presuppositions that individual happiness and freedom is the only thing that really matters and it's the greatest end goal. So if someone cannot articulate the arguments maybe against abortion or against gay marriage, they just say, oh, those people are regressive and intolerant, and they just say, oh, God said you can't do that. But they cannot properly articulate things, just like they can't properly articulate religion, because they grew up in a society that just told them those things were false and stupid. But they don't actually think through why it's false and stupid.
Yeah, and each day that passes, the more and more like that becomes, I would say, like you're saying earlier, dishonoring to God for failing to engage with those subcultures, and not trying to witness to them. Like, you don't need to go out of your way and hire a professor of gender studies in your staff. Yeah. But you need to at least acknowledge that the world we're living in is radically different from 10 years ago. Yeah. And if you don't move with the times, and primarily move with, I believe, God's Spirit in witnessing and being faithful to kind of contextualize, then I feel like you're dishonoring God.
I agree. And, I think that, like, you look at these stories about people who just grow up believing in God, right? They do something. But then you see stories of people who went without God, like killing, drugs, sex, whatever, and then they were saved and they make such a big impact. So to me, I feel like that tells me something. Like maybe people who've experienced it make more of an impact because they're more aware of the actual idea of their being saved, because God walked them through it, said, you just fell down. How do you feel? I feel bad. I don't want to do this anymore. Please help me. Right. And then he helps them up, and then now it's like, I want to help people, and it makes a bigger impact because they have a deeper understanding of what it is to be saved and what it is to have true faith.
Well, I think it's a both and though. I think if churches are disengaged from culture, it's not necessarily like, I'm just thinking about what I was just saying. Like, it's not necessarily that they're wrong, or it might not be they're dishonoring because they're preaching the word. Agreed. But like, if you're not actively witnessing, then I feel like you're disobeying the commission. And also, like you're saying, like it just makes me think of all the people that responded positively in the Gospels to Jesus. It was people that were maligned and estranged and appreciated the grace and knew they were wrong, right? They realized they were transgressors. Yeah. And as the church moves, I feel like you're saying, not only is the person who is rebellious against God realize the gospel is true when they're converted, but the church realizes the joy in sharing the gospel and being engaged with the culture, So it's not a thing of just like, oh, stop being this. It's also, but be the church. Yeah. Be light in the darkness and salt in the earth, So it's like a both and, I guess.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to be like, churches that are just preaching the word and
Yeah.
are just super conservative are wrong.
No, yeah,
But-
it's not. It's like there are. It's not a bad thing to be preaching the word, but like I think about what are they called? Amish, right? This is a very extreme example, but they spend their entire lives away from society, in a very disciplined religious life, and then at one certain age they say go and experience sin, and if you come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
Because they want you to know what it is to sin and make that conscious choice as a believer to turn it away and come back to God.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that idea is what I'm coming from with that. When it comes to people who just grow up only knowing God, as opposed to people who grow up, go away from God, and then are brought back to Him.
Yeah.
And I think it might not be that extreme to like be like, oh, you go away from God, but then
But you know what I mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. But I think just in culture in general, there's like this idea where if you believe something, then you can't be open-minded to what the other person has to say or believe.
Yes,
And it's Christian and non-Christian.
I agree.
Because like from the Christian standpoint, if you sympathize with atheists, then all of a sudden you're doubtful and you're doubting the word.
Yeah.
And then from an atheist standpoint, if you sympathize with Christians, then you're being bigoted and you're opening the door for hate and whatnot. And it's in reality, it's that no one wants to be moderate. No one, and not even moderate as in I compromise my views, but moderate as in I have my views, but I also see how yours could be valid, and I can see how you can believe what you believe. There's like no other way for people to argue than to say, I don't understand how you possibly believe what you believe. Like people can't address arguments; they have to dismiss it. They have to say you're an idiot.
Exactly.
They can't actually deconstruct your argument because they don't understand it.
Exactly, and that's where I came from when I said, like, we're not questioning it. It's okay to question it. You're not doubting God. You're just questioning it. That's what you're doing. There's no belief is worth believing if you can't question it. And I agree with what you said about when people thinking they believe something and then by being open-minded to something else, it's like they're doubting it. No, I had someone tell me one time that I couldn't go to two separate churches, and I was like, I'm going there. I don't have to believe what the person next to me believes, but at the end of the day, I'm going there for one reason only, and that's why everybody's there, despite what they believe, to relish in God's grace and celebrate the gospel and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. That's why I'm there. To be around a community of believers, even if their little details are different. I don't have to believe what they believe. That's their own personal relationship with God. None of my business. But I still want to be around the Holy Spirit, where it's being at least encouraged. Yeah.
Well, actually, we go to church to honor God the Father, who sent His Son to sacrifice for us, who is still with us through the Holy Spirit.
What I know.
You need to say it. Anyway, let's go. That's done.
Okay.
It's done.